chat in a minute. And once this meeting is done, once we finish with our run-throughs, I would make it up and I'll get it sorted out. It's not a
So what do shareholders have? Because you've given us a YouTube link to send to shareholders. What do they have?
Yeah, that's the one for tomorrow. So, apologies. You were saying what the shareholders have for today?
For tomorrow.
Oh, for tomorrow's link stand. It's absolutely fine what they have.
Is that one that will show Zoom or not show Zoom?
That won't show Zoom. That can be either.
Means you have to fix it then.
Yes.
We're linked to shareholders.
Yes, I'm just sending it out to everybody now. There's everyone in the meeting. The new link is in YouTube. I've already seen it. It works, sound works and all that. So I'm now going to proceed to kick off the meeting. You're welcome to check it out as and when you're ready. Sorry?
Please hold on a second. Let's just protocol for this dry run. Debola, you be chairman like we did the last time. Funke, please, if you be Fola, and then I guess Ms. Kalara knows her role. I'll turn on my video if one or two other people can turn on their videos. Vital, if you can use us as the different parties. I'm trusting that for tomorrow you would have checked the names and you would know who to switch to at the different points. Suggestion is that we run this end to end. Let's pretend it's a live scenario. So no random comments about people putting things up. We should reserve comments to the end and deal it at that point. Funke, Debola, you both have the new order of proceedings, right? Fola sent it this morning.
Is it this? Yes. Yes, I have downloaded.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say is if we're running this like a live dry run, because I'm not in your WhatsApp chat for the Q&A, I guess you'll figure out how you send it to me so I can get it, right?
I'll send it to you by WhatsApp anyways.
Okay.
We'll send it to you by WhatsApp anyways.
All right, thank you.
Fola, take note of that. Just send it to Funke.
Will do.
Okay, all right, fabulous. Okay.
Good to go.
Thanks. Vital, we're good to go.
Yeah, okay. I just remembered that I hadn't updated the protocols. I'm just opening that up for you. Okay, so let's go. I'm just gonna rewind it and play.
Okay, Company Secretary, do we have a quorum?
Yes, we do.
Thank you. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that I welcome you to the quarterly meeting of our company, UPDC. The Company Secretary has advised me that in accordance with Article 48(1) of the company's Articles of Association, a quorum has been formed. This meeting has therefore been duly convened and properly constituted. Accordingly, I hereby declare the meeting open. Before we start the business of the meeting, I would like to state the protocols for the meeting. There will be an opportunity to ask questions on any motion before it is put to the meeting and votes taken. You may ask questions during the question and answer session through a number of options. For shareholders on the YouTube streaming platform, you are welcome to type questions in the comments window of the streaming page. For shareholders on the online voting platform, kindly type your questions in the comments window. For the selected proxies, please click the raise your hand feature on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Once called upon, unmute your microphone and ask your question. Now, the following directors have joined the meeting virtually with our shareholders on the online platform. Mr. Folashape Aishimoju, Chief Executive Officer of the company. Mrs. Deborah Nicole Omerua, Deputy CEO of the company. Mrs. Folakemi Fadaonsi, CFO of the company. Mrs. Awuneba Ajumogobia, a non-executive director of the company. Mr. Adekunle Awojobi, a non-executive director of the company. Professor Okon Ansa, a non-executive director of the company. Mr. Oyekunle Oshilaja, a non-executive director of the company. Also in attendance is Mrs. Folake Kalaro, our company secretary / legal advisor. I am Babatunde Kasali, the non-executive chairman of your company. Pursuant to the court order convening this meeting, I have been appointed to act as chairman of the meeting. I would now like to introduce the various professional parties who are advising us and assisting our company in taking the various steps necessary to implement the scheme of arrangement. Stanbic IBTC Capital Limited Financial Advisor, Banbo and Ighodalo Legal Advisor, KPMG Advisory Services Tax Advisor, Ernst & Young Auditor and Scrutineer, Stanbic IBTC Stockbrokers Limited, the stockbroker, and Africa Prudential PLC, the registrar. I would also like to acknowledge the representatives of the SEC and the NSE who have also joined us for the meeting. Mr. Kabiru Garba, a representative of the Securities and Exchange Commission. Mr. Olurotimi Kuti, a representative of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. The CAC was also invited to this meeting. In the interest of public safety, the court-ordered meeting is being held virtually. To this end, we welcome our shareholders who are following the proceedings of this meeting via the video streaming platform, and those who have confirmed their attendance and will vote online or via the USSD platform. We also confirm that a number of shareholders have sent in their proxies ahead of this meeting. Please note that voting on the resolution to be moved at this meeting will be by poll, which means that every shareholder voting via the USSD platform, online or by proxy, shall be entitled to one vote for every share he or she holds. Shareholders who have elected to vote by themselves during the meeting via the online or USSD platforms are able to do so using the code which was shared by the registrar ahead of the court-ordered meeting. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this meeting has been convened pursuant to an order of the Federal High Court granted on 15 July 2020 to enable the shareholders of UPDC to consider the proposed scheme of arrangement. I call on a representative of the legal advisors, Banwa and Ighodalo, to read the court order directing that this meeting be held, as well as the notice of the meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will now read the court order. In the Federal High Court of Nigeria, in the Lagos Judicial Division holding at Lagos, suit number FHC LCS 824-2020, in the matter of an application under Section 539 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, Cap C20, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004. In re UACN Property Development Company, PLC, applicants with
Sorry,
registration
apologies.
number.
Apologies. Hi, sorry to interrupt you. When you're handed over to read, you're reading this tomorrow. When you're handed over, please wait till I share the screen before you start, because I'm struggling to even know where you are on this.
Okay, I'm literally at the top and I'm about to move to.
Okay, so
the
I'm on the
third
right place
page.
now. I can follow you. So,
You can just move to the third page.
so do you want me to
last
start
paragraph
on the third page, this page? This one?
Yes.
So this is where I'm starting from tomorrow.
No, you're starting from the first page and then I will move to the third page. So once
So
I
first we
say,
omit the second and then go to the third.
yes.
Okay, thank you. Can we just go through that again from the top, please? Let's just get that. Thank you.
In the Federal High Court of Nigeria, in the Lagos Judicial Division, holding at Lagos, suit number FHSC/L/CS/824/2020, in the matter of an application under Section 539 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, Chapter C20, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, in re UACN Property Development Company, applicant, with registration number 321582. Upon reading through the said summons, its supporting affidavits of 18 paragraphs and 17 paragraphs, affidavits of urgency, both deposed to by Folake Kalaro, female, Christian, Nigerian, the company secretary of UACN Property Development Company PLC of UAC House, 125 Odulami Street, Lagos, and written address signed by Chinedu Meche Esquire, counsel to the applicant, all filed at the Federal High Court Registry, Ikoyi, Lagos, on the 6th of July, 2020. After hearing Chinedu Meche Esquire, counsel to the applicant move in terms of the motion paper, it is hereby ordered, 1, that the applicant is hereby directed to convene a meeting of its shareholders for the purpose of considering and, if thought fit, approving with or without modification the scheme of arrangements between the applicant and the holders of its issued and fully paid up ordinary shares, the scheme, in the form and context of the scheme document annexed to the affidavit in support of the application. 2, that the meeting of the shareholders of the applicant be convened and held at 12th floor UAC House, 125 Odulami Street, Marina, Lagos, or such other convenient venue as the directors of the applicant may determine, on the 26th day of August 2020 at 10 a.m. or such other convenient date and or time as the directors of the applicant may determine. 3, that the meeting of the applicant's shareholders be held and conducted in any manner as the applicant's director may deem fit, including through proxies appointed from a list of proxies designated by the board, or participation by telephone or other electronic means, or such other virtual or audio-visual communication facilities as the directors may deem fit, having regard to the prevailing circumstances and government guidelines on physical distancing, with the notice clearly specifying the instructions on how to access and participate in the meeting. 4, that Mr. Babatunde Kasali, the chairman of the applicant, be appointed chairman of the meeting, or failing him, that Mrs. Awuneba Ajimogobia, a non-executive director of the applicant, or failing them both, any other director so appointed in their stead by the shareholders present at the meeting, shall act as chairman of the meeting and to report the proceedings thereof to the court. 4B, that voting at the meeting shall be by way of poll. 5, that the shareholders of the applicants can vote at the meeting through their proxies appointed from the list of proxies designated by the board, registered emails or other electronic platforms, or such other virtual or audio-visual communication facilities as may be made available, without requiring the shareholders or their proxies to physically assemble at a common venue. 6, that if the meeting approves the scheme by a majority represented not less than 3/4 in value of the shares of members being present and voting either in person or by proxy or via email, telephone, or other electronic means, or through virtual or audiovisual communication facilities, and thereafter, upon the approval of the Securities and Exchange Commission, the report of the court-ordered meeting be presented to this honorable court, along with the applicant's petition for an order of this honorable court to sanction the scheme. Issued at Lagos under the hand of the presiding judge and the seal of this honorable court this 15th day of July, 2020. I will now read the notice of the meeting.
Apologies, you will now read what?
The notice of the meeting.
Okay, is that, am I supposed to be screen sharing here?
Oh, you don't have a copy of it?
Okay. Allow me to go ahead and read it. We should do across the Vidal for the next round.
Okay.
But just in the interest of time, allow me to, sorry to cut you off, just so that we can get to voting, maybe just
Yeah.
Okay.
summarize and then we can, yeah.
The court-ordered meeting of the shareholders of UPDC will be held on the 26th day of October at 10 a.m.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I will be referring to a copy of the scheme document which you received prior to this court-ordered meeting. Pages 17 to 20 of the scheme document contains the scheme of arrangement referred to in the notice of this meeting. A, B, C, D. Company Secretary.
This training.
The registrar has confirmed that the scheme document together with the proxy forms for use at this meeting were dispatched to all members of the company. The notice of the court-ordered meeting was also published in the Nation's newspaper and Punch newspaper. With your kind permission, the document will be taken as read. As you should have seen from the notice convening this meeting, the purpose of the meeting is to consider and, if thought fit, approve with or without modification a proposed scheme of arrangement under Section 715 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, incorporating a reduction of share capital under Section 131 of CAMA.
Okay. I wish to say a few words at this juncture on some key aspects of the scheme of arrangement, particularly its envisaged reasons and effects. Ladies and gentlemen, I will now give you the opportunity to ask questions and comments on all aspects of the scheme. For shareholders on YouTube streaming platform, you are welcome to type questions in the comments window of the streaming page. I now call on the CEO to coordinate the questions and answer session. Thank you.
Thank you, shareholders. Were we going to give anyone on the call opportunity to ask questions? Or should I just read the ones in the chat?
You can read the ones in the chat. What we said in the order of proceedings that they put up their hands. So I guess I'll put up my hand so we can simulate that.
Oh, I couldn't see the hand put up. So I guess the
Put it on,
person
I just put it on now.
answering the question has to, okay, I just need to make a note. So I'll get Paula to know what to do to ask those. Okay, so I can see that the shareholder has put their hand up. Ms. Shola Karena, please go ahead with your question.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
That was my question.
Thank you so much. We've received other questions as well. One asks about the current market value of the REIT. And what I would say is that as at 30th of September, the REIT had a market value of Y. What is the timeline for this transaction is the next question. Thank you for that. The transaction, we aim to conclude it before the end of the year. There's some comments that I've seen here about some people not receiving their scheme document. And as the registrars and company secretary mentioned, these have been sent out to everyone. If you haven't received a copy, please log on to UPDC's website to get a copy, and a hard copy will be shared to you shortly. There are no further questions that I can see. And on that note, I will hand back to the chairman to continue with the order of proceedings.
Great. I will now call on the company secretary to take us through the voting modalities.
Voting on the subjoined resolutions will now commence. As stated earlier, the voting on the resolution will be by poll, which means that every shareholder voting online via the USSD platform or by proxy shall be entitled to 1 vote for every share that he or she owns. The statutory majority required to approve the scheme is a majority representing not less than 3/4 in value of the shares of members present and voting either online via the USD proxy at this meeting. I confirm that some shareholders have sent in their proxy forms indicating how their votes will be cast. In order to facilitate the voting process for shareholders voting remotely via USSD, the USSD codes which have been made available to members will be used. Shareholders voting online should also visit the website for voting and follow the instructions displayed. At the appropriate time, the registrar will explain the voting procedures. The subjoined resolutions to be considered and if thought fit passed as a special resolution are contained in the notice of the meeting on pages 44 to 45 of the scheme document. I will now read the subjoined resolutions for consideration. Blah, 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 blah. I think we should move on.
Okay. I hereby move the motion that the subjoined resolution just read by the company secretary be approved. Would someone second the motion?
Hi, my name is Mrs. Bakari. I second the motion.
I now put the motion to the meeting and ask all shareholders to vote either 1 favor or 2 against. I hereby direct that a poll on the motion before the meeting be taken forthwith. I further direct that Messrs. Ernst & Young act as scrutineers. I will now invite the registrar to explain the voting procedures.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For online voting, please click on the link sent to you and enter the unique code from the message received. As soon as the voting starts, the text "Approve Scheme of Arrangement" will appear on the screen with the voting options for, or against, or abstain displayed. Voting will be open for 15 minutes. Once you have voted, click the Submit button at the bottom of the page. You can change your vote within 15-minute window by simply clicking on another option. Once the voting period ends, your last selected voting option will be registered as your final vote. For USSD voting, dial *4018# once you receive a message that voting is set to commence and follow the on-screen prompt. Select option 8, AGM/EGM/COM. Voting will be open for 15 minutes. Follow the prompt and vote for, or against, or abstain, and send. Confirm and submit your vote. You will receive confirmation that your votes have been submitted. You have the flexibility to change your vote within the 15-minute window by simply dialing the USSD shortcode again and repeating the process. Once the voting period ends, your last selected voting option will be registered as your final vote. A data charge of 20 Naira will apply for voting via USSD. UPDC has made provisions for this charge to be refunded to you within 24 hours of the court-ordered meeting. Voting is now open. I think, Mr. Chairman, I wish to inform you that voting is now concluded and the results are being collected on the voting platform?
No.
Oh, okay.
We have to vote and test
Oh,
the
you
vote.
vote? Okay.
It's just that I guess the team should have made it like 2 minutes for this test because we're going to have to wait 15 minutes. Apologies, I was the one that said no interruptions, but we can't wait 15 minutes because we need to test. Apologies, Vida. Apologies, Vida, if you can kill the music for a sec. So we can't wait 15 minutes because we have to test this end to end. So Dominic and team, I don't know if for purposes of this session, you can make it 2 minutes, and this we'll make that the same suggestion for the 6 o'clock dry run, 2 minutes. We'll do 15 minutes on the day, just so we can get to the end of this before 6. If it will be disruptive, to cancel this and send it again.
Okay.
And start again. Is that possible? I don't know, Dominic and Catherine.
Yes, he's doing that now. Hello,
Okay.
hello, ma. Sorry. Okay, it's running. So if we decide to stop, let's say in the next 3 minutes, I can stop, then the result can be
Okay, fantastic.
Yes.
Okay, please, let's stop it and then let's get back into the swing of it. So apologies, Vidal. Let's just assume for the next 2 minutes, and then they'll stop the vote, and then
all right.
do our thing.
Getting there are no ongoing polls currently.
Refresh your page. I actually voted.
Okay.
The DJ can play, yeah?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'm still getting the same thing.
Yes, sir. Yes, yeah.
Sorry, Vidal, the music is supposed to keep going on until we prompt you that the results are ready to be announced. Is there an issue? sorry to do this. I'm not clear. It's been working over there. It's still running on my phone. Hi, Dominic, Catherine.
Hello, please. Okay, can I stop it? I shall send the chat through that group WhatsApp so that I can get it. Okay.
Okay, stop it.
I'll stop it.
Say the voting is over, and then we can then go to the session of the results. So you.
Dominic, by the way, you didn't send it through the chat. You sent it directly. Just FYI.
Okay, so you right. So I'm sending the chat.
Sorry, once voting is over, Debola, I'm supposed to say, ladies and gentlemen, I will now ask you to wait patiently.
That's what I'm trying to say. Ladies and gentlemen, oh, sorry, I was on mute. I will now ask you to wait patiently while the scrutineers review the results of the polls.
So shall I sorry to interrupt. So at this session, will everywhere just be quiet like this for the 5 minutes that the scrutineers will take to review the results?
Vidal will play music, but I guess that's the least of our problems right now. So Vidal, you're supposed to have some UPDC thing up and music to continue. So you take a break for Debola to say what he said, and then the UPDC. So the voting results will be off, not this ahead, that, and then music.
Okay, noted. I'll put that in the show. Thank you. So I stopped the music deliberately, by the way. I'm just trying to cue a few things in place. I think this might be a bit too much. I think something more subtle. Let's see.
Just play like nothing.
I remember. We'll work on the music after. We'll work on the music after.
Yeah, elevator boring music.
I'm just conscious that we have 4 minutes till 6.
Debola, I don't like my music selection. You're trying to say something?
Oh.
This is dedicated to you, Debola. This one for you.
I can't even laugh. Where's the results?
Where are the results?
All right.
Where is
is the result. Oh, we're still waiting.
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing just to ensure that he can share. Oh, Dominic, are you ready?
So I'm forwarding it to
Vida,
the
recall,
email
I'm
group.
the one giving you the cue for that. So please hang on.
I know. I just wanted to know if it's ready.
Let's do
I
it
was
like we
stalling
should,
him.
please. Let's just, otherwise we'll mess up tomorrow again.
Okay, I just want to make sure that me sharing the screen doesn't stop him from sharing. So I wanted to test that. So I'll know if I need to stop sharing at some point. Maybe when you tell me to stop playing the music, I'll stop sharing. Okay, so while you sorting that out, can I just double check that the notice of the meeting has been sent so I can prepare for the next meeting? Hi, Shola?
Bimbo, please answer. Babe.
Yeah, I've gotten a notice in my email, so I think you should check.
What's the subject of the email, please? Got a whole lot of please see notice attached. Okay, cool. Right. So just while they're doing this, Ms. Claro, I have this notice of the meeting here. Can I just show you so you can let me know? I just reading it all through and through, or you've also got specific pages you're doing?
Olamide is the one reading it, I think.
Okay, but they're just reading it through and through, right? I don't need to
No,
skip
so
them.
I'll be stopping at where it says the court ordered meeting of the shareholders will be held at 10 a.m.
Okay, just there. All right, thank you. It's clear. Right, FYI, I have Kunle Silaja, Bimbo Yeyika, about there.
Yeah, I'm just hearing that all the directors are joining.
Okay.
Yeah, USCJ.
Can you please let Bimbo back in? And I don't know if you can tell.
Yeah, I've let him know. I've already let him in.
We're just sorting out
Okay.
the. Yeah.
Are all the directors joining?
Yeah, apparently I got a note. I think they got a note saying all directors please join at 6. I'm not sure who sent it out, so I'm just trying to find out why we need all the directors. I guess they may also want to see how it will run. Maybe Mrs. Ajimogubia would also want to see how it will run in case, she has to step in. But let me just clarify.
Okay. Are we still we're still waiting for the votes, or because it sounds like
Almost done, please. Let's just give us just a minute. We're almost done.
Shola, please, can you confirm receipt of email?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, are you checking your devices?
yes. I mean, I'm on my device. I haven't seen anything. I'm not in the mail chat, by the way, if that's where you're sending it.
Your email.
Okay. Or you can send it via this chat, because I haven't gotten it, if it's something that can be copied.
Is it not going to be displayed on the screen? Is it?
Okay, got it.
I guess.
Yeah. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I will now announce to you the results of the poll for the subjoined resolution. The total number of shares held by shareholders present who voted either online, through USSD or by proxy on resolution is 16,620,869,042. Total number of shares voted in favor of the resolution approving the scheme is the same number. This represents 100% in value of the shares held by the shareholders present and voting online through USSD or by proxy. And 3,000 number of shares representing 0.00001% in value of the shares. I don't understand what this means. Okay, this represents 100% in the value of the shares held by the shareholders present and voting online through USSD or by proxy, and 3,000 number of shares representing 0.00001% in value of the shares held by the shareholders present and voting online through USSD or I think, sorry, that's the English in the email just, it's a bit confusing.
We'll clean it up. We'll clean it up for the next one. Yeah. Go ahead.
Based on the results of the poll, I declare the resolution approving the scheme of arrangement carried. The report of the result of this meeting will be filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission for its final approval. Following the grant of the final approval of the SEC, a copy of the results will also be submitted to the FHC to enable sanction the scheme, blah, 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 this CAC. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, the announcement of the result has brought us to the conclusion of the business of the court order meeting. I thank you all. I now declare the meeting closed.
Okay.
National anthem.
Okay, so Dominic, can you stop sharing, please? Here we go.
Your screen.
Oops. One. All right, thanks. Director's been waiting for about 7 minutes. Anthem, it's fine. I need just 2 minutes to reset the order. So can we start letting them in? What do you think?
Sorry, who's doing the briefing? Or are we just going to start from the top?
I'll do that. I'll do that.
Yeah, please, just for the Q&A was a bit, at least for around just looking at the chat and the hands up and all of.
So let me know when to let them in, please.
Go ahead.
Hello.
Hello, good afternoon or good evening.
Good evening. How are you crashing our call?
Evening, everyone.
The guest star.
Crashing it. I just played the chairman.
Well, you should know by now that Debola loves UPDC. Any opportunity he can get to hang out with us.
Yeah, I think before we start, just to thank everyone for working this hard and this late on Sunday to make this perfect.
Thank you, everyone.
Good evening and welcome. Thanks for your time. So just a few housekeeping rules. We are going to start with an internal session with everybody who's going to be on the Zoom chat at 9:30 tomorrow. And the object would just be to run through the protocols with everybody. So I'll just give a brief summary now for the benefit of directors who didn't join us on Friday. The object is that the directors will keep the video on throughout, suggesting obviously be in a quiet place, have good internet connection. But the suggestion across board for everyone is to keep the lines muted, except for when they are called on by the chairman to speak. Just to highlight again that Mrs. Ajimogobia is the chairman's backup. So if anything happens to his line, she will be taking things over. We are running today. It doesn't seem like the chairman is on. So I don't know if who will be happy to take up that role. What we'll be running through is an order of proceedings, which Mrs. Calaro should have sent to you. And we're going to run it end to end as though this were the proper session. Well, I don't know if you are happy to play that role for the purposes of this meeting, but happy to take your guidance on what makes the most sense.
So I'm happy to play the role. I'm going to see if I can read the chairman. If I can read the chairman quickly, just so that we don't, he doesn't join for 2 minutes in and we have to start again. I was going to ask though, whether Mrs. Ajimogobia has seen the order of proceedings, and since she's the backup chair, Mrs. Ajimogobia, I don't know whether since you're going to be the backup, you want to do it or if you want me to do it.
Doesn't seem like Mrs. Ajimogobia has enabled her mic yet.
Mr. Ajimogobia, can you hear me? No.
I think she's trying to unmute her mic.
Folake, have you sent the order of proceedings to Mr. Ajimogobia?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I'm just giving her a call. Let me see if she's having challenges with her connection.
Talking about order of proceedings, there was supposed to be some update to it yesterday. Has that been updated and has that been shared? Shola?
It's the updated version that was shared with you. I shared the updated version.
Okay, today.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Ajimogobia is on now. And
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening,
evening.
Mr. Ajimogobia.
Good evening. I was in the waiting room. I was told you were rounding up your session.
Yes. So did you hear anything of what Shola said, or?
No, I didn't at all. No, not at all. I didn't.
Okay. So I'll just do a quick recap. So we're going to have a quick session at 9:30 tomorrow, just to make sure everybody's mic, video is running well, and then to run through the protocols for the meeting. I was just going to do a quick summary for you now. The way it's going to run, we're going to have a Zoom room, which will be comprised of directors, members of management, as well as professional parties, the regulators, and the shareholders who have been appointed as proxies. The object is that the shareholders and the directors should have their video on through the session, but mics would be off throughout the session, except when you're called on by the chairman to speak. We are also, there are going to be various sessions, points during the process where the administrator would move to different people across the call, particularly when you're being introduced. So just to sort of flag that point, recommending everybody have obviously best possible internet access and, dialing obviously from a quiet place. So that was broadly the protocol. For the purposes of this session, we're going to run it end to end as though we are in the scenario of the meeting. So we're going to do everything we're going to do tomorrow. I think Fola was suggesting that you play the role of chairman because you are the alternate of the chairman. So in the event that the chairman has communication or technology issues and drops off, you will be taking over the session. And I don't know if you had the opportunity to run through the order of proceedings yet. If you had any questions before we
Who will take over as chairman? Myself?
Yes.
I see. Okay.
Just to
Okay,
say a few things, the way the chairman has requested this run, he's delegating the answering of the questions to Fola. So there's some text in there about that when you get to that point. But I think most of what it requires is very well articulated in the order of proceedings.
Sure.
All right. I don't know if there are any other comments, questions before we start.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the question was, since the chairman is not on this call, do you want to play the chair, or do you want me to do it for the purpose of this dry run?
Oh, I see. I think you go ahead and do it.
Okay.
You
chair
go ahead
for a
and do
day. Okay.
I'm just opening the order of proceedings.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
Okay, so Fola, if you're going to...
Is the chairman joining us for this meeting?
He is supposed to.
Okay, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, Madam K, did you hear anything different from the chairman?
Myself, no.
No, I was asking for Lake Kalaro if she had anything.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Okay. But he's had one dry run already with us. We had one dry run already on Friday.
Okay, excellent.
Okay, so.
So Fola, if you're chairman, I think Funke played your role the last time. So, or I don't know, Deborah, I guess you can play that role of, but I guess we don't have a number. So pushing the questions might be tricky. If you don't mind, if Funke can play that role of this, because we can push the questions to her just so we can test it out.
I'm happy, I can play both roles.
Okay, you can do both. Okay, then that's fine.
So I can practice my actual function.
Makes sense.
Okay, so national anthem.
Vidal, over to you.
It's not the national anthem, apologies.
Company Secretary, do we have a quorum?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that I welcome you to the court-ordered meeting of our company, UPDC. The Company Secretary has advised me that in accordance with Article 48(1) of the company's Articles of Association, the quorum has been formed. This meeting has therefore been duly convened and properly constituted accordingly. Accordingly, I hereby declare the meeting open. Before we start the business of the meeting, I would like to state the protocols for this meeting. There will be an opportunity to ask questions on any motion put to the meeting and votes taken, before it is put to the meeting and votes taken. You may ask questions during the question and answer session through a number of options. For shareholders on the YouTube streaming platform, you are welcome to type questions in the comments window of the streaming page. For shareholders on the online voting platform, kindly type your questions in the comments window. The following directors have joined the meeting virtually with our shareholders on the online platform. Mr. Folashokwe Ayeshimoju, the Chief Executive Officer of the company. Vidal, aren't you going to pin? Mrs. Deborah Omerua, Deputy CEO of the company. Mrs. Folakemi Fadaonsi, CFO of the company.
We're just using these people as placeholders.
Okay. Mrs. Aoneba Ajimogobia, a non-executive director of the company.
I don't have a video on.
Mr. Adekunle Awujobi, a non-executive director of the company. Professor Okon Ansah, a non-executive director of the company. And Mr. Oyekunle Oshilaja, a non-executive director of the company. Also in attendance is Mrs. Folake Kalaro, our company secretary and legal advisor. I am Babatunde Kasali, the non-executive chairman of your company. Pursuant to the court order convening this meeting, I have been appointed to act as chairman of the meeting. I would not like
when can we ask questions, right now or as we go along or at the end?
Do you have a preference?
The end will be useful because we're just trying to run it end to end if you don't mind.
That works. That works.
Thank you.
I would now like to introduce the various professional parties who are advising us and assisting our company in taking the various steps necessary to implement the scheme of arrangement. Stanbic IBTC Capital Limited Financial Advisors. Banwa Nigudalo Legal Advisors. KPMG Advisory Services Tax Advisor. Ernst & Young Auditor and Scrutineer. Stanbic IBTC Stockbrokers Limited, the stockbroker. And Africa Prudential PLC, the registrar. I would also like to acknowledge the representatives of the Securities and Exchange Commission and the Nigerian Stock Exchange, who have also joined us for the meeting. Falake, note to make those things in full, not abbreviations. Mr. Kabiru Garba, a representative of the Securities and Exchange Commission. Mr. Uluru Timikuti, a representative of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. The Corporate Affairs Commission was also invited to this meeting. In the interest of public safety, this court-ordered meeting is being held virtually. To this end, we welcome our shareholders who are following the proceedings of this meeting via the video streaming platform, and those who have confirmed their attendance will vote online or via the USSD platform. We also confirm that a number of shareholders have sent in their proxies ahead of this meeting. Please note that voting on the resolution to be moved at this meeting will be by poll, which means that every shareholder voting via the USSD platform online or by proxy shall be entitled to one vote for every share she or he holds. Shareholders who have elected to vote by themselves during the meeting via the online or USSD platforms are able to do so using the code which was shared by the registrar ahead of the court-ordered meeting. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, This meeting has been convened pursuant to an order of the Federal High Court granted on 15 July 2020 to enable the shareholders of UPDC consider the proposed scheme of arrangement. I call on a representative of the legal advisors, Banwa Negodalo, to read the court order directing that this meeting be held, as well as the notice of the meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Aren't you going to read it?
Yes, I'm waiting for the screen share.
Ah, okay.
Okay. In the Federal High Court of Nigeria, in the Lagos Judicial Division, holding at Lagos, suit number FHC/L/CS/824/2020. In the matter of an application under Section 539 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, Chapter C20, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004. In re UACN Property Development Company PLC applicant with registration number 321582. Okay. Upon reading through the said summons, its 14 affidavits of 18 paragraphs and 17 paragraph affidavits of urgency, both deposed to by Mrs. Folake Kalaro, female, Christian, Nigerian, the company secretary of UACN Property Development Company PLC of UAC House, 125 Odulami Street, Lagos, and written address signed by Chinedum Umeche Esquire, counsel to the applicant, all filed at the Federal High Court Registry, Ikoyi, Lagos, on the 6th day of July 2020. After hearing Chinedum Umeche Esquire counsel to the applicant move in terms of the motion paper, it is hereby ordered, 1, that the applicant is hereby directed to convene a meeting of its shareholders for the purpose of considering and, if thought fit, approving with or without modification the scheme of arrangements between the applicant and the holders of its issued and fully paid up ordinary shares, the scheme, in the form and context of the scheme documents annexed to the affidavit in support of the application. 2, that the meeting of the shareholders of the applicant be convened and held at 12th floor UAC House, 125 Dulami Street, Marina, Lagos, or such other convenient venue as the directors of the applicant may determine on the 26th day of August 2020 at 10 a.m. or such other convenient date and or time as the directors of the applicants may determine. 3, that the meeting of the applicant's shareholders, the meeting, be held, conducted and attended in any manner as the applicant's directors may deem fit, including through proxies appointed from a list of proxies designated by the board, or participation by telephone or other electronic means, or such other virtual or audio visual communication facilities as the directors may deem fit, having regard to the prevailing circumstances and government guidelines on physical distancing, with the notice specifying the instructions on how to access and participate in the meeting. 4A, that Mr. Babatunde Kasali, the chairman of the applicant, be appointed chairman of the meeting, or failing him, that Mrs. Awuneba Ajimogobia, a non-executive director of the applicant, or failing them both, any other director so appointed in their stead by the shareholders present at the meeting, shall act as chairman of the meeting and to report the proceedings thereof to the court. 4B, that voting at the meeting shall be by way of poll. 5, that the shareholders of the applicants can vote at the meeting with their proxies appointed from the list of proxies designated by the board, registered emails or other electronic platforms or such other virtual or audio-visual communication facilities as may be made available, without requiring the shareholders or their proxies to physically assemble at a common venue. 6, that if the meeting approves the scheme by a majority representing not less than 3/4 in value of the shares of members being present and voting, either in person or by proxy, or via email, telephone, or such other electronic means, or through virtual or audio-visual communication facilities, and thereafter, upon the approval of the Securities and Exchange Commission, the report of the court-ordered meeting be presented to this honorable court, along with the applicant's petition for an order of this honorable court to sanction the scheme, issued at Lagos under the hand of the presiding judge and the seal of this honorable court, this 15th day of July, 2020. I will now read the notice of the meeting. In the Federal High Court of Nigeria, holding at Lagos, suit number FHC/L/CS/824/2020, in the matter of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, and in the matter of an application under sections 715 and 131 thereof. In re UACN Property Development Company PLC with registration number 321582, the applicant. Notice is hereby given that by an order of the Federal High Court, hereinafter referred to as the court, dated the 15th day of July 2020, made in the above matter, the court has directed that a meeting of the holders of the issued and fully paid ordinary shares of UACN Property Development Company PLC be convened for the purpose of considering and, if thought fit, approving with or without modification the scheme of arrangement proposed to be entered into between UPDC and the holders of its fully paid ordinary shares. The scheme is explained in detail in the explanatory statement in the scheme document. A copy of the said scheme and a copy of the explanatory statements that each shareholder of the company is required to be furnished with pursuant to section 716 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020 can be found on pages 17 to 20 and pages 10 to 15 of the scheme document respectively. The court-ordered meeting of the shareholders of UPDC will be held on the 26th day of October 2020 at 10 a.m. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I will be referring to a copy of the scheme document which you received prior to this court-ordered meeting. Pages 17 to 20 of the document contain the scheme of arrangement referred to in the notice to this meeting. The scheme document to which I will refer for most of today's meeting contains the following: the explanatory statement to you from the financial advisor to your company, specifying the terms, reasons for, and effect of the scheme of arrangement. This can be found on pages 10 to 15. The scheme of arrangement on pages 17 to 20. Appendix 1 on pages 21 to 31, which provide further information on the company. And Appendix 2 on pages 32 to 37, which provides further information on UPDC Real Estate Investment Trust, the UPDC REIT. The registrar has confirmed that... Sorry?
That's for me. The registrar has confirmed that the scheme document, together with the proxy form for use at this meeting, were dispatched to all members of the company. The notice of the court-ordered meeting was also published in the Nation newspaper and Punch newspaper. With your kind permission, the documents will be taken as read. As you should have seen from the notice convening this meeting, the purpose of the meeting is to consider and, if thought fit, approve with or without modification a proposed scheme of arrangement under section 715 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, incorporating a reduction of the share capital under section 131 of the Company and Allied Matters Act.
I wish to say a few words at this juncture on some of the key aspects of the scheme of arrangement, particularly its envisaged reasons and effects. Specific reasons why the board resolved to recommend the scheme include: to increase free float and liquidity in the UPDC REIT. UPDC is pursuing a restructuring through a capital reorganization such that a substantial portion of UPDC's interest in the REIT is unbundled to UPDC shareholders by way of a scheme of arrangement. The REIT was listed at 10 Naira per unit in July 2013 and traded at 3 Naira 80 kobo a unit on the 14th of August 2020, a 62% decline in value. In spite of a track record of dividend payments, The diminution in unit price has resulted in an erosion of unit holders' value. In addition to investor concerns around operations and management of the REIT, an often cited challenge has been limited liquidity, with UPDC owning more than 60% of the units in the REIT. The restructuring is expected to materially increase free float and liquidity in REIT units. A second crucial component for the restructuring is the immediate release of value to UPDC shareholders, who will benefit from a direct interest in the UPDC REIT, which has a track record of dividend payments. Since 2016, UPDC has received about 3 billion naira in aggregate dividends from its investment in the REIT. On account of UPDC's challenges, it has paid no dividends to its own shareholders over the same period. Post the proposed restructuring, any future dividends from the REIT will flow directly and proportionately to UPDC shareholders. The April 2020 recapitalization has increased UPDC's attractiveness as an investment proposition. A restructured UPDC will be a more streamlined company, where the management team can focus on optimizing value from the company's existing portfolio and developing and managing high-quality assets to create long-term shareholder value. The unbundling is expected to provide the following benefits to UPDC shareholders: direct exposure to the REIT and its diversified portfolio of income-generating assets, ensuring that shareholders directly benefit from the dividends of the REIT, which has not been passed on to shareholders in the past due to operational losses at UPDC. In addition to shares in UPDC, eligible shareholders will also own units in the REIT, providing flexibility to each shareholder for their investments. The reorganization provides an opportunity for unit holders to benefit from further future growth in the REIT portfolio, increased free float and investor liquidity for the REIT, and a streamlined and focused UPDC. Upon the scheme becoming effective, UPDC will hold 133,413,475 units in the REIT, representing 5% of the total issued REIT units. UPDC's retention of this residual 5% unit holding in the REIT is in compliance with Section 532Z of the Securities and Exchange Commission Rules and Regulations 2013 that require promoters of real estate investment schemes to subscribe to a minimum of 5% of the registered units of the scheme at inception and hold such units through the life of the real estate investment scheme. Ladies and gentlemen, I will now give you the opportunity to ask questions and share comments on all aspects of the scheme. For shareholders on the YouTube streaming platform, you are welcome to type questions in the comments window of the streaming page. For shareholders on the online platform, kindly type your questions in the comments window. I request that to assist us in giving appropriate responses, you should refer to the page in the scheme documents to which your question is related. Members should kindly ensure that their comments are brief and restrict their questions to one per person, so that other members will have an opportunity to ask questions or make comments. I also request that before asking a question or making a comment, you should kindly state your name. We also received some questions prior to the meeting from shareholders. The registrars and financial advisors will coordinate this process. I will now call on the CEO to coordinate the question and answer session. Thank you. Shola, how is this supposed to work? Are they going to be posted? I know on the day people will raise their hands on the platform.
So there are two sets.
Okay.
So from UPDC COM Q&A, Bimbo and my colleague Folagbade have posted questions that they've spooled from the YouTube platform and from the online platform there. But what we have proposed is that you start with some of the shareholders who are proxies may have questions. So Funke and I are proxies for that. So we put our hands up. So suggest that your view has the participants on the rightmost screen sort of put up so that you can see whose hand is up. You can call them to ask their questions first. They will unmute and ask their questions. And then when they're done, you can then go to the chat group, the UPDC Com Q&A chat group, and then pick questions from there to answer.
Okay, I don't see your hand up. I don't know if I'm not looking in the correct place, and I don't even see Funke at all.
If you
Okay,
get out of full screen mode, then click on
go ahead.
participant.
Funke and
Full
Shola
screen.
and both have their electronic hands up. So if you click on participants, you'll see
got
their
it.
raised
Okay.
hands in the
Okay,
drop-down.
I see it now. I see it now. Okay. Shola, please, the first question.
Great. Today is a fantastic day.
Are you going to refer to her as Shola?
No, I won't be asking questions on the day. It will be one of your shareholders, so I'm sure you will address them in the right way.
Okay, sure. But for the proxies, who are the proxies going to be?
There are a couple of your shareholders. I know there's a Mrs. Bakare, Ms. Kalar. I don't know if you could read the rest of the guys.
There's Mrs. Bisi Bakari, Evangelist Bayo Omojola, and Alaji Gbadigbo Olatokunbo. They're just 3 of them.
I think Mr. Jumogobe's question was, Mr. Jumogobe, correct me if I'm wrong, we received questions already, correct?
Yes, yes.
Who is going to ask those questions? Do I just read through them, or will someone ask me the questions? I think that's Mr. Jumogobe's question.
So for the questions that have already been posted on YouTube and which we've pushed to you, I think it's, remember we discussed it that you could ask and then sort of point to the questions you've seen and then say somebody's asked a question asking when they will receive their read units, and then you would answer that. It may be a bit unwieldy to have someone else ask, and then also there may be things you don't want to ask or answer, or because you're just picking a couple of questions to answer. You don't have to answer everything.
Very clear. Sorry. And okay, so the first question I have is from Folake Kalaro, and it is, what is the unit price of the REIT now? Why is it profitable for shareholders to have REIT units? The REIT today trades at 3 naira 80 kobo a share, and shareholders, and has a long history of profitability and dividend payment. Shareholders will be receiving these units and therefore the future benefit of profit and dividend for no additional consideration. So it's profitable to shareholders. The next question I have is from Mrs. Funke Jaya Oladipo. Will I receive any form of cash as part of this transaction? The answer is no. The reorganization contemplates that shareholders will receive REIT units in proportion to their existing shareholding in UPDC. The next question is regards receiving the scheme document and UPDC's focus going forward now that the REIT has been unbundled. We have confirmation from the registrars that that the scheme document was dispatched to all shareholders. We will continue to work with the registrars on improving this process. The document was also posted online on UPDC's website. UPDC has a very clear focus going forward. It's going to focus on the 2 broad pillars of its business. The first is the development part of the business, which is building properties for sale or lease. And the second is the asset light aspect of UPDC's business, which has 3 components: asset management, facilities management, and property management. So UPDC is going to focus on growing the 2 key pillars of its business going forward. The next question I have is from Fola Esho, which is, when am I getting my money? As I have mentioned previously, there will be no cash consideration as part of this transaction. However, we expect that UPDC shareholders will be credited with REIT units over the next 4 weeks. However, this is subject to a number of processes outside our control. There's a need for Securities and Exchange Commission approval, a need for a court sanction of the scheme, and working with the CSCS and the Nigerian Stock Exchange. So we would aim to do this very quickly. We expect this to be done over the next 4 weeks, but it's subject to a few factors that are beyond our control. The next question I have here is from Mrs. Folake Kalaro. Will I get dividends from the REIT? Short answer is yes. Dividends that the REIT pays going forward will flow directly to UPDC shareholders who will become direct holders in the REIT. I see Mrs. Funke Jaya-Oladipo has a hand up. What's your question, please?
Thank you, Mr. Fuller. The question I have is, what will happen if the shareholders approve the scheme at this meeting? What are the immediate next steps? Thank you.
The immediate next steps, Shola, please correct me if I'm wrong, are that we would approach the Securities Exchange Commission for final approval, and then approach the court to sanction the scheme. Thereafter, we would commence the process of crediting, of working with the CSCS and the Nigerian Stock Exchange to credit REIT unit UPDC shareholders with their proportionate shareholding in the REIT.
Correct. The only thing you missed was the filing with CAC to get effective date.
Yes. So it's
we
SEC before court,
Q&As.
right?
SEC before court, then court from CAC after court.
Clear. I see no further questions. So I would hand us to the company. I'll hand over to the company secretary to. I guess I'll hand over to the company secretary. I'm now the chairman again, to take us through the voting procedures.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Voting on the subjoined resolutions will now commence. As stated earlier, the voting on the resolution will be by poll, which means that every shareholder voting online via the USSD platform or by proxy shall be entitled to 1 vote for every share that he or she holds. The statutory majority required to approve the scheme is a majority representing not less than 3/4 in the value of the shares of members present and voting either online via the USSD platform or by proxy at this meeting. I confirm that some shareholders have sent in their proxy forms indicating how their votes may be cast. In order to facilitate the voting process for shareholders voting remotely via USSD, the USSD codes which have been made available to members will be used. Shareholders voting online should also visit the website for voting and follow the instructions displayed. At the appropriate time, the registrars will explain the voting procedures. The subjoined resolutions to be considered and if thought fit passed as a special resolutions are contained in the notice of the meeting on pages 44 to 45 of the scheme document. I will now read the subjoined resolutions for consideration. That this court-ordered meeting approved the scheme of arrangement dated 24th day of August 2020, a print of which has been submitted to the court-ordered meeting and for the purposes of identification endorsed by the chairman, and that the directors be and are hereby authorized to consent to any modification of the scheme of arrangement that the Securities and Exchange Commission and or the Federal High Court may deem fit to impose and approve. 2, that in accordance with the scheme, 1,515,501,818 units of the company's 1,648,915,293 units held in the UPDC Real Estate Investment Trust be transferred to eligible shareholders as defined in the scheme document of the company based on the application of the allocation ratio as specified in the scheme document. 3, that pursuant to the provisions of section 131 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, and in consideration for the transfer by the company to shareholders of the 1,515,501,818 units in the UPDC REIT, the company's share capital account shall be reduced by the sum of 4,698,055,636, that is the share premium deduction amount, being the value of the transferred units through the reduction of its share premium account, and the share premium deduction account shall be transferred into the UPDC REIT unbundling liability account. 4, that in the event that the market value of the units held by UPDC in the UPDC REIT based on the per unit market price as reflected in the daily official list of the Nigerian Stock Exchange on the effective date as defined in the scheme document, the final market value is lower than the share premium deduction amount, An amount representing the difference between the final market value and the share premium deduction amount shall be transferred from the UPDC REIT unbundling liability account into the company's reserve account or such other account as the board of directors of the company, the board, may deem fit and in compliance with applicable laws. 5, that the solicitors of the company be directed to seek orders of the court sanctioning the scheme and the foregoing resolutions, as well as such incidental, consequential, and supplemental orders as are necessary or required to give full effect to the scheme. And 6, that the board be and is hereby authorized to take all actions as may become necessary to give effect to the scheme. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Company Secretary. I hereby move the motion that the subjoined resolution just read by the Company Secretary be approved. Would someone please second the motion?
Good afternoon. I am Mrs. Bakari. I second the motion.
I now put the motion to the meeting and ask all shareholders to vote either in favor or against. I hereby direct that a poll on the motion before the meeting is taken forthwith. I further direct that Ernst & Young act as scrutineers. I will now invite the registrar to explain the voting procedures.
Catherine.
I'm sorry, I was on mute. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For online voting, click on the link sent to you and enter the unique code for the message received. As soon as the voting starts, the text "Approved Scheme of Arrangement" will appear on the screen. Within the voting options, for or against or abstain displayed. Voting will be open for 15 minutes. Once you have voted, click the submit button at the bottom of the page. You can change your vote within the 10-minute window by simply clicking on another option. Once the voting period ends, your last selected voting option will be registered as your final vote. For the USSD voting option, dial *4018# once you receive a message that voting is set to commence and follow the on-screen prompt. Select option 8, AGM/EGM/COM. Voting will be open for 15 minutes. Follow the prompt and vote for or against or abstain and send. Confirm this and submit your vote. You will receive confirmation that your votes have been submitted. You have the flexibility to change your vote within the 15-minute window by simply dialing the USSD short code again and repeating the process. Once the voting period ends, your last selected voting option will be registered as your final vote. A data charge of 20 Naira will apply for voting via USSD. UPDC has made provisions for this charge to be refunded to you within 24 hours of the court-ordered meeting. Thank you. So voting is now open. Good. Mr. Chairman, the voting is concluded and results are being collected on the voting platform. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, for that, that's the point where you say we should give the scrutineers a moment. Yeah. There's a line for that.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will now ask you to wait patiently while the scrutineers review the results of the poll.
Yes.
What typically happens is, there's always a small amount of
Vital?
Yep, I was queued to the music, so I believe this is your time to.
Okay. Are the scrutineers ready?
Yes, check your email, WhatsApp, and the chat. You should have what you're supposed to read next.
Okay, but do I start reading before it's put on the screen?
The cue is that as soon as you start reading, it comes on the screen.
Ah, okay. I don't have anything yet. So yes, I don't have it yet.
Okay, so just to be clear, at this point, the chairman will receive a private message by WhatsApp with the result.
Email and Zoom chat.
Okay, and simultaneously, those results will be shown on the screen that's shared. So everyone is seeing the same thing.
Correct, but we would only chairman starts to read so that it doesn't preempt it. So for example, now that Fola hasn't received it yet, we wouldn't put it up until he starts speaking.
Has it been sent?
Yes, it has. I received the email because I'm in copy.
Okay, so it wasn't sent by, I haven't seen it by WhatsApp. The email has come through now. Abimbola, did you send it by WhatsApp also?
So I sent it because ideally we'll only be sending it to the chairman via Zoom chat and email. So I sent it to you via Zoom chat as well as on your email.
Okay.
Would you mind sending it to me as well? Because just in case the chairman has dropped off at that point, I have an idea of what to expect.
Okay, I'll put you in copy for next time.
Thank
and
you.
I'll send this to you.
Fola, the chairman says he's not comfortable with WhatsApp, which is the reason why we're doing email and Zoom chat. He asked for those.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will now announce to you the result of the poll for the subjoined resolution. The total number of shares held by shareholders present and voting on the resolution is 16,620,819,242. Total number of shares who voted in favor of the resolution approving the scheme is 16,620,812,242. This represents 99.99% in value of the shares held by shareholders present and voting. 7,000 shares representing 0.0001 in value of the shares held by the shareholders present and voting voted against the motion. Based on the results of the poll, I declare the resolution approving the scheme of arrangement carried. The report of the result of this meeting will be filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission for its final approval. Following the grant of the final approval by the Securities and Exchange Commission, a copy of the results will also be submitted to the Federal High Court to enable it to sanction the scheme of arrangement and registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission so that it may become effective. Ladies and gentlemen, the announcement of the results has brought us to the conclusion of the business of the court ordered meeting. I thank you all on behalf of the Board of Directors of UPDC for taking the time to attend this meeting, and I now declare the meeting closed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Shola. So Mr. Jumagube, did you have any comments or any areas you want to change?
No, nothing to change. A couple of questions. The first one is, if shareholders communicate challenges that they're encountering with voting, if they communicate that through, say, the Zoom chat or the comments on YouTube or some other means, what is the plan?
So, Mr. Jumagube, we have someone from my team. We have a standard response that we will be sending in response to it. The reality is it's going to be impossible to troubleshoot each person's problem real time. I think the suggestion would be, if one method, say USSD isn't working for you, try the online, or sometimes it could be a connection issue occasioned by your network. So we have agreed a standard response. So he'll be monitoring the YouTube page and responding to folks who have that challenge with that comment.
What is that response?
Something to the effect that please try using the alternative method, and please also check with your service provider with respect to sort of the quality of your connection. And also reiterating that the platforms are up and working properly so that folks know that it's not as a result of our issue.
Okay, so you've dedicated a specified amount of time, and you're not going to seek feedback regarding whether they're ready to proceed. You will just proceed after that time is lapsed.
Exactly, you're correct.
Okay, and how much is that time? How long is it?
So it's 15 minutes.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, carry on, Fola.
No, after you, please.
Was your question related to that point?
It was related to voting, yes. It was to the point.
To go ahead.
Okay, and frankly, it just occurred to me as you asked the question. I was wondering how many people dialed in for UAC's AGM on the YouTube. I'm wondering how many people will be voting in the first place. Do we have a rough sense? 100, 300, 500? Do the registrars have an idea? Funke, do you remember on the YouTube page?
I'm just checking.
Okay, because Shola, I was wondering, assuming there are 50 people, whether it's possible to, we can also deploy some of our part of the UPDC team to actually call people and try and walk them through. So to make an effort, there's a stock standard, and if they still struggle, is there a number we can reach you on, and someone calls them and attempts to walk them through. That approach is very dependent on
the number of people.
Yes.
Can I just say something, sir? Okay, we have also intimated our CXC, our Customer Experience Center. So they are ready to support shareholders that might call them, because the standard messages we send to them, we told them that if they have issues, they should conduct a Customer Experience Center. So they'll be responding to them real time. Thank you.
So thank you, Catherine.
Just to answer the question, for the UAC one, we had 34 unique people commenting over and over and over again. So it was just 34. But we don't know how many people were on the actual platform. These are the people that communicated with us.
About challenges?
No, not challenges, just general comments.
Okay. Is it a concern that there could be a distraction?
So in the standard response, after Mr. Dogobia.
No, go ahead, Fola.
Shola said that her team is sending a standard response. Catherine said her team is on standby. I was going to confirm that the standard response from Shola's team includes the phone number of Catherine's team, just so we can close the loop on that one.
No, it does not. We're not aware of it, so we'll put it in. I think I prefer that to somebody in your team calling them, and because you also don't want to take responsibility for issues that could ultimately turn out to be network issues. So we'll add that to the message.
Okay.
Is there a risk at all? Is there a risk at all of anyone feeling disenfranchised as a result of these challenges?
There is, and which is the reason why these meetings can be a little tricky. The only reason the only thing that gives me a bit of comfort is that this is not a contentious, transaction. Broadly see the benefit. So even if somebody couldn't vote, if the resolution is carried, it's unlikely someone will be making a fuss about it. But that said, I think the key is to make sure our platforms, and we had that conversation, our platforms are up and running, and we can show it if anybody does take issue with it, that our platform was working. And if we can do that, as much as we can help, I think I wouldn't recommend we go beyond the service center that these guys have, just so somebody, we didn't help them well or we didn't help them on time.
Sure. Might it be worth proactively reaching out to the, various shareholders associations, their chairs, to let them know that everything is up and running, but in the event that anyone has a technical challenge, this is what we've done? Might that be worth considering, or do you think it might just become itself a distraction?
So thankfully, whoever is providing troubleshooting, Catherine, please confirm that the person who's troubleshooting is not part of the team that will be working on this meeting.
Oh.
Okay. So if it's a separate team, it shouldn't be a problem. Catherine seemed to have suggested that they've already informed shareholders, but it was useful to maybe get some sense from Mrs. Carroll, since she also knows the associations quite well, if she thinks it will be helpful to shoot that message across to them specifically.
Well, I would explore it given the time, given the closeness of the time now, but we can explore it. Never can tell.
All right.
But
So
do you think it's a good idea, or do you think it could be a distraction? I think, I think that kind of feedback is important to establish whether to do it or not.
I'm not sure it's a distraction, because we had debated if some people actually are unable to vote or they have challenges voting, won't they feel somehow? So there's a means of communicating to them that if you have challenges, you could channel it to this source or place, it will be comforting.
No, Mr. Jumogobe had a subsequent suggestion. Falake, how many shareholder associations do you deal with?
About 7 or 8.
Mr. Jumogobe's question is, do you see any downside in calling each of them tomorrow morning and just saying voting is going to be by USSD, and if you have a problem, there's a helpline available to help you? That's the specific question. Do you see any downside in making a phone call to deliver that message tomorrow morning?
Okay, so because I only have phone calls of the phone numbers of the heads of the association, I can pass that information to them. Whether they are now able to read the larger people in their association is a totally different question entirely, since I don't engage directly with the larger members of the association.
Okay, so Mr. Jumogobe, in summary, I think it's a very good idea. Falake, please tomorrow morning call the 7 heads. Call them, don't email them, and just say the registrars have made provision to support anyone who is able to vote, and a number will be shared with anybody who raises a challenge on the YouTube link.
Yeah, I think the advantage of doing that is that if there are people who can't get through, then it doesn't seem like an afterthought if you're calling them then. Okay, the other question that I had was a minor one. Just in case the chairman has dropped off when he's to introduce himself, what language do you suggest I use? Because currently it says, my name is Babatunde Kasale and I am the XYZ. So should there be a reference to the substantive chairman at that point? I think it would be appropriate. What do you suggest?
I think this is one for Aziza.
Hopefully he'll have full connectivity, but just in the unlikely event that that scenario.
Okay, we can provide just a one-liner, but the reference should be to because the court order says that in his absence, then you should chair the meeting. So we can provide a one-liner that will guide you in just referring to the fact that the court, in the absence of Mr. Kasale,
okay. How will you send that? Will you send it by email?
Yes, ma'am. It's just going to be a one-liner. We'll send it to you by email.
Tonight?
Yes, ma'am.
Or tomorrow morning? Okay.
We'll send it tonight.
Thank you very much.
Just to be clear, Mr. Jumogobe, so I think what I understand is if at any point the chairman drops off, then you immediately speak and say, my name is Mr. Jumogobe, the court order says I should chair the meeting going forward, and just continue. Is that correct?
Yes.
Brilliant.
I mean, but we now need to be clear. If she starts, will the chairman want to come back and the chairman joins back? I think we should be clear on what.
I think so. I think it will be appropriate.
We don't have, will she step down and then it continues, or?
I think it would be very appropriate for the chairman to step into his role when he comes back.
Okay.
So we need to have a medium of communication
Yes, ma'am. And I was going to say that so that we also provide language for you when the chairman comes in, what to say before you step down and then he steps in.
Super, thank you. And then, I mean, it would be helpful to get notification because depending on, I may not immediately see, we are going to be on Zoom, right? It's going to be a
Yes.
Zoom meeting just like this, identical to this tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay, so in the event that I am not immediately aware of the fact that he's come back into the meeting, how would I be notified?
I think Mrs. Kalara should do that as a company secretary.
Okay, so you'll notify me by WhatsApp or you call me? What will you do?
I'll call you.
You'll call me, okay. And then how will I know when, I guess if the chairman drops off, it will be obvious because he'll stop speaking.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Understood.
Just to say on that last bit, Ms. Kalara, it text or WhatsApp might be better because what if she's mid sentence, for instance?
Yeah, absolutely. You can't call when she's in mid-sentence.
Okay, sure.
And also there should be a natural break before the substantive chairman comes back in. Maybe one of the sections. So you carry on till you finish the one section and then the chairman can come in the natural break.
Makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Okay, so I think, Mr. Ajimagu, do you have any other suggestions or comments or questions?
I think that's it. It's you guys have thought through everything. It's gone through very smoothly. Well done. Nothing more for me.
If I just recap, I think there were three things you suggested, all very helpful. The first is voting support, and the things that need to be done are one, for Lake to call the 7 shoulder rep heads and tell them we have gone above and beyond and provided support. So anybody who can't vote, please put it onto the YouTube platform and somebody will contact them about how to, and the number will be shared for support with them. 2, in the stock standard message that Stanbic is going to post in response to any voting queries, there will be language as to the phone number for the call center that Africa Prudential registrars will set up, and APR will have a call center set up to take questions. So I think that was that on voting. And the second.
Before you go on, the support that will be provided, will a number be put on the YouTube link, or a number will be provided that we can share with them?
No. If somebody goes on YouTube and says, I can't vote, Shola's team sends them a stock standard message. In that message, there'll be a number to the APR call center.
Okay.
Okay.
So just an obvious question, but I'll ask it anyway. So comments are enabled on YouTube?
Yes, they are.
Okay. And then one last question from me. Sorry, Fola, to interject. Were there any lessons from the UAC meeting that we could learn for ours?
I think Funke is probably best to give a view, or Vital, and then I'll give my view. Funke, any thoughts, or you want me to go first?
No, you can go ahead, but I guess there was also the UPDC AGM, that you had, and I think the reaction there was less. There was less activity at the UPDC meeting. So if we're assuming the shareholder base is the same, maybe that's what we could expect. I think UAC, there was a lot of activity there, but yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think the fundamental difference is, Mrs. We'll go back to your point about voter disenfranchisement.
Yes.
We gave no opportunity for voting for those 2 meetings. You sent in a proxy and you did not vote. So we've gone above and beyond. So we're very much into uncharted territory. And I hope this good deed doesn't become punished. For all of the AGMs that have been done virtually, you would know for the CAP1, there are 12 people in the room, everybody else votes virtually. So this is the first time we, within our group, are attempting this remote voting. But it's been tried and retried, and APR seems very confident. So we'll see how it works tomorrow.
Have any other companies run this method?
Catherine, Dominic, has anybody else done it?
Yes, we actually had an AGM on Thursday. BUA, they did it all online and they voted online.
Okay. And how did that go?
It went very well.
Do they have a lot of retail shareholders?
Resolutions.
Okay. Do they have retail shareholders?
Yes.
Yeah. And then
thank you.
The final point was, Mr. Jumoke, this is a question for Aziza. In the event that one shareholder does say they couldn't vote and take us to court, Aziza, my suspicion is that the judge would look at the voting results and say, even if you voted your 50,000 shares, you couldn't have changed it. Or would the judge tell us to have the meeting again?
No, so the judge will look at the initial order we got and what we did, whether we complied with the court order, which we have done. And then I don't even know that they will go into the significance or otherwise of the person's votes. They will want to check whether we've complied with the text of the order that we got. And the order says that the directors can determine voting can be done virtually and instructions should be stated in the notice, all of which we did.
Brilliant. Okay. Then the next question was Mr. Jumogobia's, just the switch between herself, or what happens in the event the chairman falls off. We've concluded that whenever he falls off, Mr. Jumogobia will step in and say words that Aziza is going to share with her this evening, and Falake would inform Mr. Jumogobia when the chairman comes at a natural break. I honestly see no harm in Falake just saying it live at a break. The chairman has rejoined the meeting, and Mr. Jumogobia can say, rather than texting up, just personally, I don't see the harm in doing that. But if others feel strongly, there may be a text or WhatsApp message. It's better. I had a few smaller, Mr. Jumogobia, have you covered all your questions or concerns?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And is everyone clear as to what they need to execute? The Stanbic team, Falake, Catherine, and Aziza?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. The few comments I had were for the CEO, for the order of proceedings, it would be great if abbreviations can be taken out. So things like COM are clunky. So when you read and you see at the COM, saying it live, it will be court ordered meeting or the SEC Securities and Exchange Commission. Next comment is for Vital. I think we can be sharper on the switching. So we just need to, this is a dry run, but tomorrow just super crisp on the anthem, switching to images. The third point is similar, or is, do we want to, for the UAC AGM, we use pictures. So you had a director's picture and we showed the picture. Now we're attempting to pin live photos, which is a big ask. You're betting that you memorize, I don't know, 11 or 12 people, and they each have their cameras on at the time you pin to them. So I'm sure you've thought about this, but I'm not sure that this option doesn't introduce risk, and I'm not sure what benefit we get.
Sure.
Yeah, in terms of trying to pin live. My understanding is that in the Zoom call, and therefore the only people that can speak would be the board, the advisors, and only 3 shareholders. Is that correct?
Well, you also have regulators, but I don't expect that they will speak.
Well, and regulators. Does Zoom have a mute function? Can we mute all except the chairman, yes, Mrs. Ajimogobia, and myself? Or we can't do that on Zoom?
You can.
We can. So I will ask that we mute all. Nobody should be able to speak. Because we don't want the risk of, we'll have, I don't know, 15 points of failure. So mute all in the room. Next question is, what happens if Mrs. Bakari does not turn up, or turns up and for some reason doesn't second the motion?
Yes, the second shareholder, so maybe we'll tee up the second shareholder as backup.
So who is doing that? Who is going to have because Falake Kalaro is going to be on the call. Who is going to ensure that the motion is seconded?
It It will have to be her. So she will brief both of them, and we'll talk about it in the pre-call before we start. That it will be Mrs. Bakari, and if failing her, it will be the other person. So I will agree with Mrs. Kalara after this.
Does anyone on this call own UPDC shares?
I do.
So
Very
Mr.
few.
Mugula can in theory second. Aziza, is that
Yes, in
legally?
her capacity as a shareholder, she can. But I mean,
But
in most cases, it's not
would the
done for optics.
exactly, would the optics be good?
No, I'm talking about doomsday scenario. If we find ourselves in 10 minutes awkward silence, the motion has to be seconded. So this is real doomsday scenario. If no one else, I mean, you don't solve the problem because you may be the chair for at the point. So does
no, but there are
anyone
three
else own
shareholders.
shares?
There are three shareholders that will be present. So if Mrs. Bakar is not there, the other two gentlemen will be there.
No, for like I'm doomsday planning. For some reason, they decide they want to protest tomorrow. The meeting must go on. So is there any UPDC employee that owns shares? Is there a human being that we have greater control over that can join the call, be muted just in case? I think we need to figure that out.
Okay, so Mr. Falade would also be on the call. He will not, well, he's not going to do anything, but he will be there. He can
Yes, so if Nii is on, please let's prep him to as the backup.
Sure, that's a very good point. Thanks, Fola.
Okay. Then this is for Africa Prudential. Please don't say that people will be refunded in 24 hours. Just say they'll be refunded. It's just setting us up ourselves for doing it in 24 and a half, and then it's someone complains. Just say people will be refunded promptly. Just take out the 24 hours. There's zero to gain from adding that.
Okay, noted.
Yeah. Then do we keep our videos on during voting? It's 15 minutes. Do we keep our videos on and stay at the screen, or do we turn videos off during voting? I don't know what people think about generally.
Personally, I turned it off. It was taking too long for me to be just on screen doing nothing.
Shola, what do you think as the director?
So there will be a stock thing on the screen for the guys on YouTube. So to be honest, I won't even be seeing you. So you can turn it off. You can turn off your video because what they will see on YouTube is the UPDC voting in progress. And it will be longer tomorrow because we're doing 15 minutes. Today we only did a couple of minutes, so it will even take longer tomorrow.
Very clear. So we can turn off our videos. It would be wonderful if Vital or somebody can just post on the chat going live in 1 or 2. I guess I would know. I will be the chair. When you send this,
Just to interject, Fola, I believe videos can be turned off centrally. Am I right?
I believe so, Vital.
It would be better for everyone to turn video.
To do it themselves.
Yes, please.
Yeah, but Mr. Jimoke, back to Shola's point, on YouTube, no one would see whether we're on or off. There's just a stock image.
Okay.
Yeah.
So nobody's seeing. It's just us that can see the videos.
No.
During
sorry, Shola, you go.
No, so basically what he projects in the center. So, for last year, so for example, if what he projects is the notice meeting, for instance, YouTube people's pictures or their videos. So during voting, there's a standard voting in progress slide that Vida will put up, and that's what they will see.
Okay, understood. So would it be wise for us to have 2 devices? So to have a separate device that is showing YouTube wherever we are?
Yeah, please note, if you do that, can you kindly make sure the YouTube volume is turned like to silent, or else it will interfere with your Zoom.
Okay.
Thank you.
So in summary, it's not advisable.
I find it very confusing.
Yeah, it's not
I find it very
advisable.
confusing.
There is also a delay. So you might, you might find it consuming. The people that are monitoring the YouTube on our end. So.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I seem like you wanted to ask a question around how the chairman know that the results are ready. VIDA will have a cue to kill the music. So I think in as much as the video is off, just a reminder to everyone to sort of stay alert. Once the music is off, he should have received the voting result that he's received, has been sent to him, and then he can go ahead and start reading it out. And then as he starts reading, Dominic will put the results on the screen.
Yeah, that's clear. Can I please ask that when the results are sent, we do email, Zoom chat, WhatsApp, and text? Because email very frequently fails or is delayed. WhatsApp I find is super reliable. Zoom chat, if it fails, we're in big trouble. So I think we should use all. I don't think we should rely on email. Email is the thing that gets delayed most often.
Sure.
Can I even add one more check to that? Because I think what happened with the dry run was the results were sent and the music cut, but you didn't get the results. So they should only cut the music maybe when the chairman confirms he's received it, right?
So that may be a bit tricky, but I think maybe we'll send it, maybe we'll ask him to cut the music we'll wait a couple of seconds after the results have been sent before we ask VIDA to cut the music. But on the WhatsApp, I think perhaps maybe a quick internal conversation at your end on that. Our feedback we received was that the chairman wasn't particularly keen on that and will probably not share his number for it. So.
No, that's fine. I'm just saying to the rest of us, I think I need to get it, Mr. Ajumogobe needs to get it, and the chairman can do email just so someone can step in and then Zoom on the Zoom chat as well.
Fine. We'll send it by WhatsApp to the rest of you guys. Yep.
Okay. Then the order of proceedings has a section for results, which is very confusing because it's redundant. Because the chairman is reading what is sent. So this whole section, does anyone have the order of proceedings open?
Yeah, yes. The order of proceedings I have for have a dash. They have a dash. What are you talking about?
You would never need to read this. What you would have to read is what is going to be emailed to you separately.
Oh, I see. So where it says the total number of shares held by shareholders present. Is that what you're saying? It's going
based on what I've heard. Correct. Every single thing from total number until closing remarks is deleted. There's going to be new text sent on the day of the meeting.
Everything from what? From total number of shares up to?
Yes.
Closing remarks, I see.
Closing remarks. Well, yeah, well, because I don't know what the word is. I've been involved in the cooking. I was able to adapt. So there are two ways. One is to write in the actual numbers here as they're presented and read this.
Yes.
The easier way is to simply read the email that was sent, which has all the information. And if you read that, it's easy to get confused.
Okay, so what it means then is that from the chairman to read the portion, etc., up until national anthem is going to be identical in an email. There's no change, there's no difference.
I think what you are saying, Fola, is that on page 8, from the last paragraph on page 8 down to closing remarks on page 9 is superfluous because the new text is going to be given to the chairman. Am I right?
Yes, I'm saying that the discussion we've had right now about emails and WhatsApp and Zoom chats contains the text that follow. Ladies and gentlemen, I will now announce to you the result of the poll for the subject resolution. No. So once you say that, you need to switch to the email, the text, WhatsApp.
Yes.
Once you finish that, the next relevant thing is closing remarks.
Correct.
So it was easy for
Fola,
me.
we can take that whole piece out.
Okay, so,
so maybe you can just put C.
Still on this section, we are 100% certain that the motion is carried.
Yes, we are.
We are, okay.
But yes, we are. But again, it doesn't matter.
Correct.
What would happen, Mr. Jumogobe, can you see the chat window?
1 second. I'm switching between both the document and Zoom. Yes, I'm back here. The chat window.
Yeah.
Yes,
who is the host, please? Can someone allow me to share? Who's host of the call?
Vidal and Dominic.
Vidal,
can you please allow me to share? It's just easier.
Okay, 1 minute. I'll do that. Okay, you can share now, man.
Okay.
Also, sorry, I've got the chairman in the waiting room. I'm just going to admit him now.
Oh, fabulous.
I can't share. Host disabled participants screen share.
Oh, was it you?
Okay. You made me host. It's Fola that needs to be host. It's Fola.
There you go. Done. You should be able to share now. So.
Yes. So, can you see my screen, Mr. Jumogobe?
Yes.
Okay. So this thing will be sent to you.
Yes.
This text.
Yes.
This text, if the motion is not carried, it will be in here. If it's carried, it will be in here. If it's unanimous, it will be in here.
I see. Okay.
So everything that is required around the results is going to be in here. And once this is done, the only relevant thing is closing remarks.
Okay, understood. Understood. So basically, essentially, read the script up to I will now announce the results of the poll.
In fact,
no? Read the script up to the previous section, which is I'll now ask you to wait patiently while the scrutineers review the results of the polls.
Correct. And I think what we should just,
from that point on, everything else is going to be what is sent by email. So you switch from the script to the email.
Correct. I mean, so maybe we should just put C email/text/Zoom as what is in here.
Sure.
Just remind yourself or the chairman to switch.
And these are the actual results.
I don't know. We know that it's carried because between VC and custodian, we own 93.8%.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so far, all the proxies received, nobody's voted against, so it's all for.
Okay, excellent. Yeah.
Okay. So those were my comments.
Good evening, Mr. Kasali.
Mr. Kasali.
Good evening. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good evening, Chairman.
Sorry, I couldn't join because I had some other engagement. I just finished.
Okay.
How did it go?
I think it went well. What I was going to do is just run you through the conclusions we've come to, and I think highlight the potentially tricky parts that you must be familiar with.
Which is the results?
So shall I do? Yeah, the results. Yeah, exactly. That requires a little bit of.
Yeah, I saw Mr. Jumogobe running through as a backup for the final part of the. I think it's quite good. Thank you. Just read that script and that's it. It's done. The only thing that might change is what you have there, 16 billion, whatever it is, assuming it's the same figure. If unanimously carried, we just go ahead and just move on and close.
Okay, that's clear then.
Thank you, Mrs. Ajimogobia, for sitting in place. Thank you very much.
So nothing else from my end.
Yesterday, there's a lot of hiccups trying to get the results out of. I think pasting it as you've done right now is the best. And I think we should stick to that. Huh? I hope that APR will be able to get this in as quickly as possible, so we don't pause for too long.
So pasting it where? On the chat or where?
No, like you just did on the email. I just saw it now.
That's not going to happen.
Oh, that's not going to happen.
It's going to be. No. I was simply trying to align something with Mr. Ajimogobia. What is going to happen is that text will be sent to you by email, and it will be posted in the Zoom chat. I'll do it now just so you see what it looks like. I'm going to post send to chat. Okay, so I've sent you a Zoom chat. I don't know if you've seen it.
Gentlemen, I will now.
You've seen it?
Announce to you the results of
Correct.
the poll. Closing resolution 60, whatever the figure is. Why can't we use this figure tomorrow? If it changes, you just no, I'm just joking. You're going to get you should have the exact number based on the result so that it may become effective.
Effective, yeah.
So it can become effective. That's the last.
Correct.
Is that the last one?
So you need to monitor it. Correct. So from the point where you tell the scrutineers, where you tell the House to wait patiently for the scrutineers, you need to monitor your Zoom chat or email, whichever is easiest for you.
No, the Zoom chat, it just came up on the screen, which is great. Huh?
Yes. Once it's done, you start speaking. Vital, do you need a cue from the chairman before you start speaking?
Hold on. Sorry, apologies, I missed that. Sorry.
I will give Vidal a cue to cut the music. A couple of seconds after Bimbo has sent the text to the chairman. And so once the music is off, I think cue for the chairman to check his the chat room, just to confirm that he's seen the thing, and then he starts reading. And as soon as he starts reading, Dominic from APR will display the results so that the shareholders can follow as the chairman speaks.
Okay, and just to be clear, as it's being sent to the chairman, it will be sent to me as well.
Yes, so we'll send it to the chairman, to yourself, and to Fola.
Okay, by what? By
and
Mrs.
Kalara as well.
And Mrs. Kalara, by WhatsApp and by Zoom chat. And for those of us that prefer email, Zoom chat, and then WhatsApp optional.
Yes.
Thank you.
Shola?
Yes, sir.
It's safe to assume that all the mumbo jumbo on the number of shares voted in favor, that if the motion is carried, unanimously carried, I just skip all that rubbish and then go straight to
yes, so what Fola suggested now is that we would actually take it out from the
proceedings
so that it's not confusing. We'll just put instead, please refer to your email or that.
The chat, yeah. So the meeting, I will not ask you to wait patiently while the journalists read the results of the polls. Full stop.
Yes.
Then, ladies and gentlemen, I will now announce to you the results of the poll for the website. The rest, you take out the rest, so I don't get confused. Huh?
Yes. So my colleague will send you all the text for that.
So we take it out from page towards page 8 and go straight to the chat to the results, and then we'll just close the remarks, right?
Yes.
Great.
And revised proceedings will be. Oh, sorry, Mr. Kasali. Sorry, excuse
me.
Go
ahead, Chair.
Revised proceedings will be sent tonight or tomorrow morning?
Tonight.
Tonight, please.
Tonight, thank you.
And Folake, for you, I don't know why you have UPDC 1234, then you now sent another 8429513, which is correct. Can you confirm?
I don't understand, sir.
You sent a meeting code for tomorrow. There's one with the passcode UPDC small case 1234, or the one that has the full figures, which is 8429513, which is the correct one. For tomorrow's meeting, the actual meeting tomorrow.
I will recirculate when we get the updated proceedings, I will circulate it with the code so that you can have it.
With the Zoom, with the link again, right?
With the link again, yes.
I think you're sending too many links to old school. I might go and click on the wrong one. Please just send the final one and let's know where we are.
I'll send the final one this night.
Then by 9:30,
please just put in the calendar, please.
We just log in here. Yeah.
Okay, that's probably better. Yes.
Put it on the calendar. So tomorrow we just log in. I just go on the calendar and let's log in at 9:30 to be sure that we are on live.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, are we all agreed on the same?
And the calendar invite is presently at 10.
Sorry?
So we'll change it to 9:30.
I think we should 9:30, 9:45 is better so that everybody's home. So that there
So
any
9:30, sir.
Sorry?
We agreed 9:30, sir.
Okay, deal. Fola?
Yes.
Agreed. Okay, done.
Okay, yeah. Then the final comment I had, sorry, Chair, after you. I thought you were done.
And you come with our boxer shorts. We are to be smart in corporate dress. We are supposed to wear a corporate dress and not boxer shorts and pajamas.
Correct. Okay. The final point I was going to raise was,
you have to answer my question. Whether it's, are we supposed, you're going to dress formally, full regalia of corporate wear, or boxer shorts and pajamas? Which one do you prefer?
Oh, I didn't know. Who is the question to, Chair?
To you, to me? And Shola, yes.
I strongly suggest corporate wear.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. The first point was, I think we should appoint one. Yeah, you are breaking up. I don't know if it's still the chairman that is going.
No, I'm not breaking up.
Keep going in and out for me.
Go ahead. Just go ahead.
Okay. I was going to say that I think we need to appoint someone to be the fail-safe. So if anything goes off track, there's a gap between registrar and ourselves, Mr. Ajimogobi and the chair. I don't see a question. I think it should be somebody who comes on clearly and just says, I will now call on Mr. Ajimogobi to do X, or I'll call on the CEO to respond. So we don't have long, awkward silences. And I think we should identify that person now.
Of course, for my backup, we've agreed yesterday that it's going to be Mrs. Ajimogobi, right?
No, this is beyond, this is where, because we're all going to be live.
Sorry, Fola, it will be Mrs. Kalara as a company secretary.
Okay.
My worry with that is that she's not watching we need somebody who is not participating and can see everything.
Apart from myself and
Mrs. Ajimogobi on YouTube.
Apart from Mrs. Ajimogobi and myself,
all of us.
Backup.
Like a continuity person.
No, I think Fola is somebody to prompt the next person to speak if there is a gap.
Sure.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah, but so my worry with it just being anybody is that because it's a shareholders meeting, she's the convener as the company secretary. And other than directors and the company secretary, if you're not a share or shareholders, any other person cannot speak at a general meeting unless chairman specifically directs the person to speak. We don't want shareholders raising point of order. So I don't know how we can fix it.
What about Ojobi?
I think it just, so for like you must be super attentive. And heaven help us. What happens if we lose the company secretary? If our network drops? Aziza, what happens?
Following proceedings. So if you need me, I can jump in. I followed it twice now.
Yeah, so he's a director, so he can speak. Or any other person outside that can't speak without the chairman.
No, I asked what happens if Folake Kalaron loses connection?
When she's speaking or so if she loses connection, the chairman will have to continue with the meeting.
What if it's when she's speaking?
I double as the chairman and company secretary if the company secretary drops off. Is that okay?
Yeah, so he will have to continue or direct somebody. He can direct any of us. He can direct lawyers to read, but we can't speak without his invitation.
No, I understand that.
So saying that if the company secretary drops off, if the company secretary drops off, but the chairman is still on, or Mr. Ajimogobia is still on, they can ask the lawyers to step in. And we'll continue reading.
We need to agree, this is my point. We have to agree now. So Chair, if Folake is speaking and drops off, you please ask Aziza to continue reading.
Agree.
Okay. Aziza, final question. If for any reason Mrs. Ajimogobia and the chairman drop off, what happens?
So the shareholders will need to select, according to the court order, any other director to continue to chair the meeting.
So who would ask them to do this?
One of the directors still present will,
so
or the company secretary. Yes, if the company secretary is not there, then you can speak.
Okay. So if for any reason we lose both Mr. Ajimogobia and Mr. Kasali, I would ask, or Folake would ask the three shareholders to nominate one of the directors to run the meeting, and I think we should tell them ahead of time. Probably, I think Kunle is best because he's the only one who's gone through the dry run.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I have no further doomsday scenarios.
Okay.
Point of correction of language will not drop off. If it will not drop off. So if you get yanked off, lose connection better. Will not. Mr. Ajimogobia is chair of CAP. She's chair of CAP. She will not drop off. She has a lot of work to do at CAP.
Okay. I have no further comments or questions.
Hi, can I just chip in? Mr. Fola, you asked earlier that I should mute everyone except those speaking. So on that note, I'll be muting everyone and leaving yourself, Mrs. Kalaro, Olamide, and anyone that's going to be reading. I'll be leaving them on unmuted, just because I'll need to search through each person as they come up or as they're called up. Also, can we make a note that the person who is seconding the motion, just in case for some reason she doesn't have a name or anything as such, if she could raise her hand within the chat box, so that would help me locate her quickly.
So by that, I think work with Mrs. Kalaro to confirm that she joins the 9:30, so that if she's logged in with a name that's not hers, she should have the protocol and know that she needs to put her name. But in the event that she does that, we'll point her out to you before the thing starts.
Okay, and just a note, Shola, with the professional bodies that we're introducing, with the directors, I know the directors already, but because I'm not familiar with them, I guess in the briefing, if they could all raise their hands, that way they go up to the top of the list. It gives me less field to have to search through. This is when the chairman is introducing the professional bodies in the beginning.
So are you suggesting that when we log in, we should just raise our hands?
Yeah, so those people, yes. I'll lower it once all the introductions are done.
Did you want to, I guess, get the pictures so it'll be crisp? If you have all their pictures on the slide, then you'll just run through those slides?
At this stage,
easier.
I would have preferred that, and that would have been a style that we used at the AGM. But at this stage, it's just, I've thought about it. I've looked at what I've got to do between now and tomorrow. And I think it's just easier to have them. And then For some reason, if someone changes, it means going to update a slide and so on and so forth. So it'll be easier to just do it this way.
But who can change? How can the director change between now and tomorrow?
No, I'm talking about the professional bodies, say the representative from Stanbic or something like that. Or I don't know. But yeah, with the directors, I don't have a problem with spotlighting them. I know most of the people mentioned already, so that's fine. It's just the different, the SEC, the...
I don't like the idea of spotlighting. I want slides for the directors because you have to assume someone's camera is switched on, someone's connection has not dropped at the time we're just introducing unnecessary risk and complexity.
Okay.
So if I don't want any spotlighting, I want just slides. You can use logos of professional firms if you don't have their pictures. But it just creates unnecessary complexity. I don't know why we would do that to ourselves. For zero gain.
I had mentioned that logos, I had mentioned previously, but I think the preference was pictures, but logos to represent the bodies works perfectly for me. Slides, I already have directors' pictures from the previous AGM, so we're good.
Yeah, pictures, logos have been different. I just want it to be slides, I don't want it to be live because we just create all sorts of risks.
All right.
Clear. I think we can probably release Mr. Mogobi and Mr. Kasali and Kune so that we don't...
if these guys don't show
you
up,
with, unless there's anything else that anyone needs from them.
Paula, I think if these guys don't show up, which sometimes happens because they may be stuck on the... Remember the E and Y
Which guys, Chair?
Remember
Which guys?
E and Y. They didn't show up. They didn't even know they were supposed to attend the meeting. Huh? So we just move on. You mentioned their name, but if the representative is not there, we go to the next item and I move on.
No, Chair, we're going to solve that problem by using slides. So you just show a slide of the firm and move on. We won't even have the worry. If they don't join, we have a bigger problem because we have no scrutineer, but we'll deal with that offline.
Okay, thanks.
Anything else? Shall I anything else or are we done?
Nothing else that I can immediately think of.
Very clear.
Okay, thank you very much.
Do we have a clear link now? Do we have a link that is not breaking? Because I see having some cracks, some vibrations in the background. Vidal?
I don't know if maybe that's your connection, Chair. It's crystal clear and stable for me.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Okay. On that note, I would drop off, like you said.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Good luck for tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Shall I anything else for the rest of us, or are we okay?
No, I could. I guess it's just also sort of to the point, lines of communication to the chairman and some of the directors. We'll try to make sure we have the phone numbers and emails. But as you get, for example, the voting results, to prompt him just in case he's distracted or something, so that we don't have a break in transmission. But other than that, nothing else. Nothing else to flag at this point. We'll make the updates and send them out tonight.
Hello, Shala.
Hi, Catherine.
Okay, on the issue of these other proxies, I hope I'll be getting the final feedback this night for that to include them.
Can we do that after this? Do that after this. Sorry.
Yeah, I was quick. As you said, a director can speak, right, at the meeting.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe Deborah should just be this fail-safe. To Shala's point, if there's any break in transmission where they can call the chairman, maybe we just appoint Deborah as the person who just steps into. It's a 0% chance or 1% chance, move us along. If I don't do it myself, because if I find that we're just silent, I would say something, and I will take the point of order. Okay, so Deborah, please also just, if for whatever reason myself, the chairman, Mr. Mogobi, and Falake cannot fall asleep, just wake us up?
I don't think she's on the call, so we'll have to let her know. She might have logged off.
Dropped off.
She might have logged off.
All
Maybe
right,
somebody should be
in that
checking
case,
to make sure who is on as well. But anyway, I'll let her know.
Okay, cool. All righty. In that case, I'll drop off myself. Thank you all very much, and I wish us good luck tomorrow. At least we have the votes.
Thank you.
So these are high-class problems to have.
Yep, it's just it needs to run smoothly because regulators will be on, and if they're not comfortable, they can raise issues or unduly delay the approval. So
Fair. We'll do our best.
fabulous. Thank you.
All righty. Chat later. Bye.
Thanks. On this issue of the proxies, Aziza, Catherine, Moji, I don't know if you're still on.
I'm still here. I'm still here with us.
Yes. Thanks a lot for hanging tight and for turning things around quickly.
You have to do it.
Indeed. So I don't know what you guys think. There's the whole, so Moji, you've asked for a letter from before we can use the unstamped, well, not the unstamped, the proxies for which stamp duties, they don't specifically articulate it on the document. I don't know how realistic that it will be to get that to you before tomorrow morning.
Because what's the request? Because the Finance Act is quite clear. If you show them your legal department, the Finance Act says that anything that acknowledges payment of stamp duty. That's the definition. And FIRS issued a circular in April to the general public.
Yeah, thank you, Aziza. I understand what you're saying about that. But then, hello, can you hear me? Yes. Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Okay. So I actually understand what you are saying, but that's more like an alternative procedure. And for us to be able to have comfort, it's always good that the company should give us a representation. It's just to support what we are doing. And it's very important because I've actually discussed it even with the partner, and she insisted that we need to get that representation.
Aziza, I don't know if you have further thoughts on this, but Mrs. Kalara, what's the likelihood that we'll be able to turn around the representation to give the team before tomorrow morning?
If I get a draft of what we're supposed to be saying, provided I'm the one that is signing, if any other person is signing, it will be a problem. But if I'm signing, I can quickly do it.
Okay, so confirming from Oji that if it's a representation signed by the company secretary, are you fine with that?
Usually we want one of the directors to sign it. That's our preference, that the director should sign it.
Sorry to interrupt you. I've got to leave now just because I've got quite a bit to just prep for. So I've made Shola host.
Sure. Thanks.
Again, right now, just before you drop off, it's just to confirm who will be responsible for letting people in case they drop off. Because every time there's always somebody having to prompt you, to let people back in.
Yeah, so Femi wasn't on this call, but he was on the line yesterday, and he will be specifically in charge of that. And working with the Excel document that you sent to ensure that the appropriate people are let in.
Okay, thank you.
So Mrs. Kalara, are you saying that we can get a director to sign that tomorrow? I mean, maybe tomorrow morning or tonight?
Just a director, right?
Just a director is fine.
Okay, we'll work on it. Is there a wording that you want?
To be honest with you, there's no specific wording.
It will be helpful if you can send the wording you want, Moji, so that we don't have a back and forth, because the reality is we need
they can draft something and send to Mrs. Keller. Okay, and put others in. Okay, put everybody in copy. I don't know if Mrs. Keller is in that what's it called? That a group email.
That should be.
You can just send it to the emails that we be. So some of the emails Fola has been sending with some of the information that she's got.
Okay, I'll do something tonight and share with her.
Yeah, the registrars need to know so they can upload the proxies into the system and we don't have an issue discrepancy. So I'm a bit nervous if we're only just signing. I guess.
Apologies, sorry to interrupt you. Sorry, Shola, can you just kind of make me host for a minute? I need to stop the live streaming. Thank you.
I don't know how to do that.
Just click on more next to your name, more next to my name and make host. So sorry.
Okay. Well, I don't seem to see you. Okay, no, sorry.
With our legend co-host.
Okay, so I guess, Ms. Kalaro, you are okay. So Mo is going to send you draft wording hopefully in a couple of minutes, and Ms. Kalaro, you are super certain that between now and early tomorrow you have the letter. So the big question is everybody comfortable now for the registrars to load the additional proxies that have